Hi Aries, welcome to your March 2020 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. Please pardon any background noises. I just realized the garbage truck is out in the alley and it's garbage day. So hopefully it won't be too loud. Wow, these are two cards I just got for the last reading, but in different positions. Pick an additional card. Huh. Another card I got the last reading. Okay. So, there's going to be a new moon in your sign on March 24th. So, that's the solar return. Oh, the solar return is actually Sun going into Aries, March 19th. So, happy birthday to those born in March. The heart of the matter is the King of Swords, and this is a card of somebody who is like super duper detached. This can be an authority figure like a father or a boss. It can also be a judge if there is some kind of a legal battle, and obviously can be a facet of yourself where you have learned to, stop your emotions from taking over your life. And Aries is a very passionate sign. You're very spontaneous, and you put the two together and you can get somebody who's very spontaneous about self-expression, but sometimes it can even be like volatile in expression because you're just, everything flows through you very naturally and unimpeded. But you may realize that you go overboard sometimes and you want to rein it in, learning how to become more, subdued. And then we have in the past position the Queen of Cups. This could be what this is about. In some cases, if this is another person, a Cancer individual, a woman, we have this male and female energy, double male, double female. So really that dynamic of the... And to me, this is, you can go either way, even though I like to read the cards as the gender that they're assigned to. Because Aries is a masculine sign, and a lot of people watching this will be women, there's already that kind of like situation of the masculine energy in the female. So you might be that King of Swords, and perhaps in some cases you might have an Aries woman who is dealing with a Cancer man. What is that dynamic like? That dynamic is going to be challenging a lot of times because the Aries person is going to be seen as very insensitive to the Cancer person, and like they don't care about their problems and yada yada. And the Cancer person is going to seem very melodramatic or hypersensitive to the Aries person. So not saying that this is the exact situation that's happening for you, but just giving an example of how this may play out. This can be true with any water sign that you're dealing with, especially Cancer and Pisces. Scorpio is the other water sign. The higher message is the Five of Wands. So if this is a relationship, like a personal relationship, it's, the spiritual message is, are you having constant conflict with this person? Because that can tell you whether or not this type of relationship is really where it's at. In other words, you may be in a relationship with somebody that you just are incompatible with. But for the average Aries, you might think, hey, fighting is fun. It adds spice to life, and not realize how detrimental it can be. And so it's kind of interesting to really engage this and look at what the dynamics may be, because they might be quite, things that you need to really deal with. Perhaps you're like, you have a strong physical chemistry with this person, but you fight too much outside of that area. If this is a boss situation, you may have a boss that is not really that concerned with the type of, what would they call it, like office dynamics. Five of Wands, when I see that and I think of an office, I think of like dog-eat-dog environment, or maybe the industry itself. And the boss, the authority figure, is relatively indifferent. They don't seem to care that there is this toxic environment, because maybe they are very aloof. Maybe they're not in the thick of things, and that makes them kind of out of touch with what's going on, or they just don't care. They're just interested in the bottom line. In that scenario, the Queen of Cups might be that somebody else used to be the head of it, and that person was more caring, and now you have a more like emotionally remote type of person, and perhaps they are not they're fostering this kind of a negative environment, and that just doesn't like sit well with you. What crosses you is the Three of Cups. I'm starting to see this as like the flying monkeys type of a card, where the co-workers at the cooler that are really kind of catty or phony, and they are contributing to the conflict. Maybe they're jealous of you or envious. If this is, this could even be a situation where, if you are a woman who has given birth and your partner has turned very cold and distant, that might be something that is on your mind. And the Three of Cups can be that this person is maybe having too much, is drinking too much, is socializing too much, is having affairs, and therefore, now that you have, given birth, and they might not have wanted that to occur, they're kind of distant. And so that would be a definite problem, obviously. What's coming in is represented by the King of Wands. If the situation that I just described is kind of what you're dealing with, then the King of Wands can be that you're growing a backbone. Now, it's kind of funny, because I'm talking about the sign of Aries, and usually Aries don't have to grow a backbone, but you might have Venus in Pisces, you might have the moon in Libra, you might have parts of yourself. Perhaps you're normally very confident, except when you're in relationships, and then you're kind of like, you become very vulnerable. Where your confidence will kick in, that Aries independence will kick in, and no matter what you're dealing with, you're not going to allow yourself to feel like you're the victim in whatever is going on. Because here we have two kings. Now this king is certainly more likely to be you because it's wands, it's fire energy. So it's associated with independent thought, independent actions, and confidence and mastery, self-mastery. The outcome, I did pick an additional card, is the Ten of Swords. So this is that feeling of betrayal, and perhaps, and it's also the end of a cycle. So if you've been going through this for a while, this could be the time when you are over it. And, you know, I have said in recent tarot readings that I don't really get too caught up with time frames. I do label my readings in a certain way because I have to. I mean, you know, so people know when I have posted them. But I don't necessarily think you can go. I'm sure there might be some readers who get very specific about those things, but I just like to take a snapshot of what might be happening and see, how much of it resonates with people. And I picked an additional card of the Ace of Swords. So it's almost like coming out of denial about something that maybe you were not so sure. If the Queen of Cups is a facet of yourself, then you might have been very sensitive and emotional about something that you eventually decided you had to kind of toughen up to cope with. And I also think too with some of these cards that it's like making a decision about something. And with the King of Swords, it can be like, I am not going to allow any emotion to influence how I go about this, because something has to be done, and it has to be done in a way that, makes sense to me. So that kind of thing. So, yeah, I hope that this resonated to some degree. Aries, if you'd like a personal reading, an astrological reading, that's mostly what I do, using your natal chart. Please check me out at rainandmoonastrology.com. The link is below. Take care. Bye.